check this out. Check out the. Would you, after seeing this? I mean, this is from 1988 promotional campaign promo. Rabbi Meir Kahane, and this is like our, again, of course, people who are against. Yeah, preachers of hate. You see, offensive material. Blah blah blah. Okay, this is not to support. Okay, sure.
This isn't Israel. It's Palestine. Arabs, and more Arabs.
By the way, he's in the Muslim quarter in the old city, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
What will happen in another 10 years? How many Arabs will be living here? In 1967, we had a golden opportunity. When we liberated the city, we could have removed them all. They expected us to slaughter them, but there was no need for physical harm. Just transfer. Out. We missed our chance. It was a serious mistake for all generations. Jerusalem, a Jewish city, the Jewish capital. But Jews are afraid to walk here today. In the evening, there are no Jews here. They're afraid. Jews are stoned and stabbed. But the Arabs are not afraid. Tell me, who are the conquerors and who are the conquered here? Will this city be Yerushalayim or Al-Quds? We have to decide now, because time is running out.
Those are all Arabs.
I know. I'm surprised they didn't lynch him. I know.
Just kind of like, they're like showing up. They're like, they're getting ready to pounce. He didn't give a shit. He was not scared of those fuckers.
No, not at all. Here, check this out. Here's another. What did he say that was wrong? Not one thing he said.
100%. But no, here's what he said that was wrong. Can I tell you what he said was wrong?
What is it?
He's like, oh, we missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
No, it's not being called missed an opportunity when it was done deliberately.
Yeah.
By the fucking Erev Rav.
Yeah. Here. Here's another video.
On any given night in Israel, in any of the major cities, in every coffee house, you will find thousands of Arabs throughout the country sitting with Jewish girls. In many cases, the Jewish girl doesn't even know that this is an Arab. The Arab Ibrahim will say to her that his name is Avi, Abraham. The Arab Musa will say that he is Moshe. And that's how it begins, and we don't even know about it, we who sit in the exile. The tragedy of Jewish girls, 4,000 Jewish women today married to Muslims. And bear in mind that in order to marry a Muslim, it means that she had to convert to Islam. 4,000 Jewish women today who converted to Islam and who are living today in our villages with their Arab husbands and their Jewish children who are Arabs. The prostitutes of Israel are overwhelmingly Jewish, and the pimps are overwhelmingly Arabs. And this is the Jewish state. For this we dreamed for 2,000 years. And the tragedy within the tragedy is that the overwhelming majority of these girls are Sephardic Jews who come from communities that for 1,500 years preserved their Jewishness in the exile. And that which the Muslims could not do to them for 1,500 years in the exile, Jews did to them in the state of Israel. Is this the kind of a state that we want? Is this the kind of a state that we are speaking about?
This is what they banned them for. And now let me show you something.
Folks, everything he said was literally true. Literally. He said everything that was true.
Yeah. But they don't care about the truth. Here. Now, I want to show you a video. I don't know if they took it down. Basically, it's about him talking about Sephardic. I think they took it down. Sephardic Jews. He basically said that the reason. Just 1 second. Like Sovietism happening. He said the reason that Sephardic Jews vote for me is because they live with Arabs. They were under Arabs, and they don't want to do this again. They don't want to go through this again. And they are the last, this is verbatim, they're the last normal people not touched by college professors. The last normal people, he said this in like the early 80s, maybe the early 80s. He already saw what's going on in universities.
Yeah.
It's astounding. Positively astounding. So they saw what's coming with him. What was coming with him. And
folks, I just want to say, the universities in the Western world, okay, which includes Israel, Europe, United States, Australia, New Zealand, are not centers of knowledge. They're not centers of study. They are cult compounds.
Yeah.
Can you imagine spending your hard-earned money, sending your kid to college? What an opportunity, right? Because that's what we're sold in movies and TV. Oh, you got to go to college so you can really get an opportunity. It's funny, like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, son of a bitch, they're both dropouts.
Yeah.
But these places are, you're paying them,
mm-hmm.
and or your kids are going into slavery, right? Loan slavery.
Mm-hmm.
They're enslaving themselves to be turned into a Gnostic cultist, just a brain dead retard zombie. Like an emotional ninny, totally incontinent, like out of control. Like losing their humanity, right? Losing their own mind, losing their own thought processes, losing their beauty. Normally, if they're girls, cutting their fucking tits off. Okay, that's what's happening now. All right,
yeah.
That's college, folks. You know what I mean? Like those places are not. Like, you know what? Think about it like this. Let's say you have an enemy nation, China, for instance, right?
Yeah.
And this is, aside from the fact that this is literally true, I was going to use it as a metaphor, but then I started laughing because it actually happened. They literally have a Chinese police station, and a secret police station in New York. A Chinese. Why does China have a
I have no idea.
Official police station in New York? Okay. Anyway, the point is that imagine you have an enemy nation that sets up recruitment camps for soldiers, for them, in your country.
Yeah.
And they take your kids. Why are the universities burning?
I don't know. Not sure.
They're not
sure.
providing a service. They're destroying your children and our country.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Let me read this article about Kahane, 1988. How they,
And when I say burning, here's what I mean. I'm sorry, I have to, because when they're looking for any reason to persecute anybody. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's why they should be burning. Because they've been abandoned. The campuses have been abandoned, and they've been inhabited by squatters and crackheads who, they just get stupid and they accidentally burn the whole campus down because it's been abandoned, and it's, and it just like burns to the ground from neglect and from people like that. All right, continue.
So here's an article, Los Angeles Times, 1988, October 19th, 1988. The highest court in Israel on Tuesday upheld a ban on Rabbi Meir Kahane's anti-Arab political party, anti-Arab. It's pro-Jewish, prompting the fiery Kahane to lash out at his political opponents and to forecast the destruction of the Israeli state. Okay. In a separate decision, the Supreme Court also ruled that the Progressive List for Peace an Arab Jewish party that favors talks with the Palestinian Liberation Organization, can run despite objections that is dedicated to ending Jewish domination of the country. By the way, the Supreme Court in 1984 said that banning Kahane, there was no law on the books. They actually ruled in favor of Kahane, and he ended up he was the only member from his party. That's when they allowed one person from a party. The threshold was much lower to get in at that time. The decision in Kahane's Kach party to put it out of November 1st elections and scrambled the picture on the political right. Several parties are in line to pick up the Kach votes and acquire additional seats in the 120-member Knesset or parliament. One seat in 1984. Independent political observers estimate that Kahane might have won up to 4 seats in the election. Kahane won the single seat in his party his party has at present in 1984. His popularity has increased with the failure of the government's efforts to put down the Arab uprising in the West Bank and Gaza Strip that broke out last December. Kahane, 56, holds that Jewish law and history authorized the expulsion of Arabs not only from the occupied territories but also from Israel proper, where about 800,000 Arabs live as citizens. Now it's about 2 million, 1.5 million. He routinely refers to Arabs with racist slurs. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He never did.
Never did. Ever.
Total lie.
And insists that if he is racist, so is Judaism. Okay. Just as Menachem Elon tersely turned down Kahane's appeal of a Central Elections Committee ruling that banned his party on the grounds that it is racist and anti-democratic. In a statement explaining their decision, the justices said that the aims of Kach and its actions are racist and it seeks to violently deny the rights of segments of the population. No, it doesn't. At a news conference later, maybe the people that followed Kahane, who lived with Arabs, whose parents and grandparents lived with Arabs, would get physical. Kahane himself never posed that. No. At a news conference later, Kahane, who was born in the United States, hinted that his followers could turn to violence. What the court did was to compel Jews to choose the road of anarchy and rebellion, which is what he didn't want. As the state crumbles, and it will, tragically, people will turn to us and we will take over. Voila, ta-da! 2023, 2022. Leaders of both major political parties praised the decision. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir, who heads the rightist Likud bloc, said that democracy must defend itself. Foreign Minister Shimon Peres, who held the centrist labor alignment, said Israel has no room for racist movements. Israeli civil rights groups also hailed the ruling. The ADL, Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith in America, called it a triumph for democracy and decency.
The ADL and the B'nai B'rith are not Jewish organizations. Continue.
No. Kahane, who founded the Brooklyn-based Jewish Defense Leagues, to defend Jews on the streets, scolded his political rivals, notably Shamir, for ending his campaign and advised his followers to boycott the election. Likud will pay. You know that Shamir does not care about racism. He cares about seats. Yes. The race is considered close. And by the way, Shamir was one of the people thought of as like a person who would say, he would tell American presidents no all the time, and he fought two-state solution and all that stuff. But yeah, the race is considered close, but Likud stands to gain from the Kahane ruling. No party in Israel's history has ever won a majority of the Knesset seats in an election. The country has always been ruled by a coalition, and this is not expected to change as a result of this election. Yeah, there's never been a straight-up mandate of one party. The party that gets a plurality will be given a chance to form a coalition government. If some of Kahane's support goes to other rightist parties, Likud, which is a slight overall favorite, may find it easier to form a coalition. The Tchia party, which favors annexation of the occupied West Bank and Gaza, and the Moledet party, which campaigns on a platform of removing Arabs from occupied land. It's so funny. Moledet became what Naftali Bennett's party was early on, 10 years ago. And they also held that, all these parties, all these, quote-unquote, Dati Leumi parties, religious Zionist parties, they all wanted to remove Arabs from the West Bank. All of them at that time, not just Kahane, and they want to ban Kahane.
When you're done reading, I don't want to get too far off.
There's one more part. There's one literally more, 3 more sentences.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know
what you just said, right? Yeah. Just keep that in mind, the Dati Louis. I just want to read something after you're done. Of somebody is a Palestinian that reached out to me today.
Okay. Campaigns and platform of moving Arabs are considered possible partners. No major party is likely to seek the progressive list as a coalition ally because it stands on talks with the PLO. The party which is trying to expand its Knesset delegation from 2 to 3 represents what Kahane detests perhaps most of all, the possibility that Arab citizens of Israel may affect through their votes life in what is defined as a Jewish state. We have anywhere between 10 to 15 Arab Knesset members at any given time for the past however many years. Dude, give me 1 second. I apologize. Just give me 1 second. Hello?
Take two.
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Maybe some Sovietism occurring, folks. We don't know. We'll see.
Sorry about that. Dude, your connection is like blurry for some reason.
Fine?
Yeah. You look very blurry.
You seem a little choppy.
Really?
Seem. Yeah, I'm like, for once, I'm like moving okay.
I don't know. Hold on a second. Hopefully this won't. I don't want to screw around with the connection. I don't know why it's so. Connection is unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging your router, move closer to it.
It's the Erev Rav. They're jamming
Hold on.
us. Are you frozen, dude?
Oh, is that
I
better?
think you were frozen there for a minute.
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you do something when you went away?
I went to 5G.
Oh,
yeah, Wi-Fi.
well, that's what it was then.
Now we're gonna be have chips implanted in us. What's it called? So yeah, that's essentially what that was with Kahane. And so they targeted Kahane. I mean, again, there was a bunch of other parties. It's just like what I spoke about yesterday. There's other people who want to do the same thing, but you target one guy.
The one guy, folks, who was actually saying the unfiltered truth.
Yeah.
And he wasn't saying anything hateful. He never said a disrespectful word about Arabs. All he did was literally say, report it. He was the one. If you want to know what a journalist should be, it's listen to Rabbi Meir Kahane. He's a journalist is supposed to report the facts.
Yeah.
Right? What are the facts? They're not supposed to be opinion shapers.
Yeah.
Or they can be an opinion shaper after they've delivered the facts, the objective facts. Okay. And then they could tell you what they make out of it. Okay. So that we don't have that. We haven't had that. I don't know how long. I don't know if we ever had that. Okay. But we had that with Rabbi Meir Kahane. Okay. And they killed him.
Yeah.
The one guy who's telling the truth as it really, so they killed him. I can almost. I mean, I don't have, just my intuition tells me it was the Israeli government that killed him.
I think the time of when Kahane was saying all these things, I think that was the beginning of kind of the world or not just leftists, but people not being able to handle, not only handle the truth, not being able to actually acknowledge the truth on the political scene. Like today we have now it's like an what is it called? A post-truth era. I think that was the beginning of the post-truth era. You literally can't say things as they are. God forbid you come out and say things literally like whatever you see in front of whatever everybody sees that this wall is white. And you come and say that this wall is white. This wall is, I don't know, off bone. He's saying what everybody can see in front of their face. That's happening. He's not saying Arabs are this. He's not saying Arabs are that. He's not saying this. He's not saying, oh, Jews are here and Arabs are here. He's not making any statements of supremacy. He's not, walking around with, those measuring devices, measuring people's heads. He's not doing anything. that I'm saying he's not doing anything that Himmler, Mengele, he's not doing any of that stuff. God forbid. He's just saying how it is. These people are trying to kill us. They don't acknowledge that this is our homeland. They have 20 other homelands. For some reason, they never wanted a state until we came back, and for some reason, they want the homeland that we have, only because we have it. There's a problem here. It's either us or them. Like, clearly we see that. That's all he said. That's all he said.
By the way, I think that, the shitty aristocracy of the secular Israelis left, right? That were embedded like ticks in the in these very like key like positions in government, right? They decided, I believe that they decided to begin the demolition of Israel as a country around the time of Kahane, because they saw him, that when they saw him gaining in popularity, I mean, they had already worried. They already been worried because the demographics of Israel were mostly religious or at least not anti-religious or somewhat traditional Jewish people with basic values, right? With basic morality. And that's not the socialist utopia that this like minority of pricks wanted Israel to become, right? So they realized, this is our dream of a socialist secular utopia, isn't going to happen. So it's time to start, dismantling this project. And I think that they kicked it into high gear when Kahane almost came to power, which would have been a tremendous blessing to Israel and to the world, and to the Arabs, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you have the leadership of the Arabs that are essentially working together with the leadership of Israel, because they're part of the same cult. This is not, people don't know this, but they're essentially part of the same cult. They're Gnostic fruitcakes, okay?
Yeah.
And they're using low information, uneducated, emotional ninny Arabs, right, to start riots and to get all the way the Arab leadership are using their own people is the way that the left is using Antifa. Who's Antifa? It's a bunch of homeless kids, right? A bunch of druggies.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what useful idiots is the idea. Okay, so both sides are using useful idiots, okay, to create this political weather, okay, political turmoil, and so they're suffering, right? If you had Kahane come and just tell everybody the truth, which he always did, okay, then people would stop being victim to the Gnostic fruitcakes, and they would stop being led to these horrible, situations like lemmings getting, led off a cliff. Okay, so the Arabs would have benefited from it too.
Can I play a couple of poignant videos of Kahane saying, I just want to play this for the folks at home. I want people to, and it's so incredible. Like he was let's listen. This is him when he was debating Dershowitz at I think it was Queens College or Brooklyn College. I don't remember. 1985, I believe.
We are faced with a problem.
Stop it.
And that's problem.
Folks, for those of us just joining us, especially if you're not Jewish, I want you to look at this man, Rabbi Meir Kahane, and then look at Dershowitz.
I don't know if they're going to show him in this clip, but I can show you other clips with him.
Look at the difference between a man and a whatever you want to call, a Dershowitz.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a lion of a man. This is a rabbi.
Yeah.
We are faced with a problem, and that problem is the contradiction between Zionism, between Judaism on the one hand, and Western democracy on the other hand.
Oh, okay. So they're trying to make him look bad here.
Well, of course they are. There'd never be anything positive on YouTube about
the question isn't, are there good Arabs or bad Arabs? I think it's content for the Arab
I just wanted to
state that a good Arab will accept living in the state of Israel. What Arab wants to live in a state which defines itself legally, de jure, as the Jews.
Okay.
What Arab? What Arab in Israel? What citizen of Israel? What Arab citizen of Israel stands up every morning and thinks of the fact that his national anthem, Hatikva, speaks such words as Nefesh Yehudi Homiya, the soul of a Jew yearns. What Arab can sing those words?
In another video, I can't find it, but he says, you have such contempt for the Arabs that you would want them to sing that.
No, he didn't. He didn't want them to sing that.
No, he said that the people who want them to sing that have such contempt for the Arabs.
Oh, yeah,
that
absolutely.
That they want them to sing
what he's saying, folks, is the same thing that, I mean, if you want to, I'm not comparing them, God forbid, but like Malcolm X said about white liberals.
Yeah.
Right? Or you know, what some very, very intelligent Black people today are noticing about white liberals, that they only seemingly care about Black people as pets. They don't actually care, and they're white liberals are the biggest bigots.
Yeah, the biggest racists ever.
It's called the racism of low expectation.
The bigotry of low expectation. Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly what he's saying here. Anyway,
let me play for you now. There's something called, basically, you know, that most people don't know this, that, you know, let's assume that a person from Al Qaeda killed Kahane, right, who was a follower of the blind sheikh, right? Let's assume that it wasn't the Mossad. So no,
I think it was an Arab that did it.
It was an Arab.
I think that the Mossad helped it along a little bit.
So he is known, Kahane is known as the first victim of Al Qaeda in America. So here's a thing from, very interesting thing, sequence from, I think this was in History Channel, if I'm not mistaken, or Britannica, I'm not sure where this was shown. Here.
Personal humiliation.
Yeah, History Channel.
That led him to become the #1 terrorist in the world.
For bin Laden, the U.S. troops massing in the desert are living proof that the United States is the great infidel, and that all U.S. allies in the Middle East are enemies of Allah. Yeah. He begins to spread the word to his followers that the Saudi royal family must be overthrown. At the same time, bin Laden's far-flung jihad network is roaring to life.
Kind of looks like Obama.
New York, November 5th, 1990. This 34-year-old Egyptian named El Said Nosser dons the yarmulke of an observant Jew and pockets a .357 Magnum revolver. Nosser belongs to the Al Farouk Mosque in Brooklyn, a top jihad outpost in the U.S. Nosser enters a ballroom at this Midtown Manhattan hotel.
Marriott Marquis.
Rabbi Meir Kahane, head of the tiny but violent Jewish Defense League, is finishing a speech to his followers. As Kahane steps down from the podium, Nosser pulls out the gun, fires twice, and a fatal shot enters the rabbi's throat.
By the way, man,
Nosser flees the hotel, but an armed postal officer shoots him, and police arrest him.
An armed postal officer?
Largely for law enforcement. The killing of...
It was... I know I met a guy in Israel who was a paramedic, who was a Hatzalah guy, and he told me that Kahane died in his arms. And this guy, he works, I'm not going to say his name, he works in high tech in Tel Aviv, and he says that he's like, I agree with everything Rabbi Kahane said. I cannot speak about it among my colleagues in Israel. I can't tell them where I was. I can't tell them anything about this. I have to just be completely clandestine about my feelings. So that's where we're at.
Kahane was portrayed as one crazy Arab killing one crazy Jew. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
we all now realize that was really the first major incident on U.S. soil that the radical Islamists conducted, the ones that we currently know today as Al-Qaeda.
FBI and police searched Nosair's home here in Cliffside Park, New Jersey. They find more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition, bomb-making formulas, U.S. military.
I shouldn't say this, but I wish we still had the Sicarii.
Yes.
Just fucking murdering these fucks.
They haul 47 boxes of this material to this police precinct. It's a treasure trove of intelligence.
I wonder where he would get all that stuff.
The DA, the NYPD, the FBI.
You know?
Same way the FBI.
While the FBI investigates some
While the FBI investigates themselves.
Suspicious individuals at the Al Farouk Mosque, they do not investigate the mosque itself.
Of course they don't.
So they fail to establish that the mosque
They didn't fail nothing.
They didn't fail anything. Yeah.
By a terror cell with connections to bin Laden and his growing jihad network.
The FBI at that time was working under a very tight set of guidelines, which made it extremely difficult to collect information inside any kind of religious organization, and certainly any church or mosque.
All it took was that people in the FBI and the CIA to do their job and talk to each other and connect the dots and share the intelligence. If that had happened on the road to 9/11, it wouldn't have happened.
See, this is what they did. This is what they used and fomented on purpose to say, oh, the CIA and the FBI don't communicate and we have a problem. So now let's make a law where the CIA and the FBI the Patriot Act. Part of the Patriot Act is the CIA and the FBI communicate. All they could have done is just made a law for that. They didn't need to do the whole Patriot Act where we have to take our shoes off.
I don't know about the Patriot Act, but I know who played a huge role in creating interagency communication after 9/11.
Yeah.
Christopher Mellon.
Yeah. Interesting.
The guy. Yeah, that guy. That's
the
guy.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
But I want to ask you, what was the date
next step on the
when
road to 9/11
died?
will be a casual conversation between.
What
was the day?
Oh, I think it was 18th of Heshvan. Is your site? I'll tell you in a second. A lot of
what was the English day?
I'll tell you in a second. It was November something. I remember this. I actually distinctly remember because my parents were very, very sad when they found. Hold on. It was in the evening actually. It was November 5th, 1990. November
less than November 5th, 1990. 11 years later, 9/11 happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It was Parshas Hayasara, by the way. You know, where everybody goes to Hebron and stuff. It's crazy.